Hey everybody, Jennifer Schaus here, coming to you live today from Washington, D.C., and thanks for joining us in our 2023 webinar series. This webinar series will cover the top 40 U.S. federal government contractors. So we've got 40 weeks together, actually 41, we're going to skip the week of 4th of July. All of the webinars are complimentary and they are recorded. You can find the recordings on our website as well as on our YouTube channel. Okay, so first we're just going to tell you a little bit about us. We are based in downtown DC and work with established government contractors. Some of the services that we provide are listed here on the screen in front of you, including GSA schedule support. We help companies get onto the schedule and maintain their schedules. We also put on events, webinars, as you know, and conferences. Our YouTube channel hosts almost 600 videos on government contracting topics, and we've got over 5,000 subscribers as well on the channel. Our newsletter reaches almost 25,000 subscribers, most of which are federal contractors, and we've got over 25,000 LinkedIn followers. If anybody wants to place any ads in our newsletter or sponsor any of our videos, you're certainly welcome to do so. Just shoot us an email to the hello@jenniferschaus.com email address. Okay, we do have an event coming up. It's our quarterly event, so it's our spring soiree. This will be Monday, March 20th at the Kennedy Center. If you want to sign up for that, just go over to our website, which is jenniferschaus.com. Navigate to the far right-hand side, which is the events section, and there's a link there to sign up. Some of the companies that are sponsoring the event are listed here, including Northwest Federal Credit Union, Crimson Phoenix, and our friends over at BidSpeed. Our in-kind partners are Virginia PTAC and the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce. We've got NAVAIR, NAVFAC, Department of Ed, DHS, HHS, MBDA, Amtrak, and Metro, who will be there representing the government. As more sponsors and government agencies confirm attendance, we will add them to the list. Again, the registration list is on our website under the events section, and you can sign up there. Okay, and now we want to thank our sponsors who make the webinar series possible. Without them, we would have to charge you guys, so just a shout out to all of them. First, we want to thank our friends at GovEvents, the premier platform for posting events related to government and government contracting. You can actually find all of our webinars and our events on govevents.com, as well as recordings from our past 500 webinars. We also want to thank Tom Johnson and his team at Set Aside Alert. That's the go-to publication for contracting opportunities for small, women-owned, veteran-owned, hub-zone, and 8A firms. Visit setasidealert.com for more information. The Fairfax County Economic Development Authority has an online calendar of events in the region and various webinars. We want to thank them for posting our events and webinars on their calendar. Today's data is actually provided and throughout the series by the GovSpend FedMine platform. The GovSpend FedMine vision is to be the leading trusted source of data, analytics, and insight for organizations buying and selling in the public sector. The FedMine Federal Solution integrates data from 18 federal data sources and sets and creates a single convenient database that places the key data points at your fingertips. GovSpend began as a spending and purchase order database, specifically within the state, local, and education sector. Today, the database includes contract opportunities within thousands of entities at the federal, state, local, and education organizations. They acquired FedMine in 2021, and the combined platform now empowers teams to make smarter decisions. Thank you to GovSpend and FedMine for providing the data in the webinar series this year and previous years in the past. The Virginia PTAC Procurement Technical Assistance Center at George Mason University offers free one-on-one counseling to established government contracting firms in Virginia on federal, state, and local procurement topics. If you're interested in learning more, use the links provided to explore services, review homework recommendations, register for live training, and find useful links to agencies and other self-directed learning. Online resources and group trainings are free with no restriction on business location. One-on-one counseling is limited to eligible client companies. And it looks like you've got some contact links and contact information there on the screen. The Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce monthly Government Contracting Council meetings meets to network. You can network with peers, learn about upcoming events and opportunities, and help to shape future programming. The meetings take place the fourth Tuesday of each month at 8:30 a.m. at the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce. Their next meeting, as you can see, is Tuesday, February 28th. We suggest that you contact Alicia. Her email address is there on the bottom of your screen. Cal Technology is one of our paid sponsors, and we want to thank them for participating with us again. Cal Technologies helps businesses take their software to the next level. With over 20 years of experience working with federal contractors on large-scale systems, from ship control to cloud, Cal Technology understands the challenges of a constantly evolving technical environment while maintaining legacy capabilities. Please see cal.technology or email contact@cal.technology or give them a call at the phone number on your screen to get more information. The GovCon Academy, Government Contracting Academy, is the GovCon industry's leading trainer provider for small businesses. They offer a comprehensive 25-course, 150 lessons training program for government contracting small business executives. They address every aspect of leading a small business to success in the federal sector. The program also includes hundreds of business tools and processes, marketing templates, and sample proposal sections that will accelerate your company's success. The program is 100% actionable and taught by proven government contracting executives. Their ISO Quick Cert certification program provides an easy, fast, and affordable path to ISO certification. It'll place your company in the top 1% of your competitors. BidSpeed, who you'll be able to meet over at our government contracting event on March 20th, is also one of our sponsors, and we want to thank them. Do you want help winning government contracts? BidSpeed helps and you win. Opportunities from every federal, state, local, public source in the United States. Need to find a teaming partner, incumbent point of contact, expiring contracts, etc. What about a compliance matrix or proposal templates? Want a solution to win with your GSA schedule? Maybe an easier, better way? If you said yes, log in at bidspeed.com. BidSpeed helps you succeed and is an official partner of the U.S. SBA's 7J Management and Technical Assistance Program. Get started today at bidspeed.com. If you have more questions, you've got an email there, which is the support@fedbidspeed.com, or you can give them a call at the phone number listed. Okay. Last but not least, we've got the Federal Business Council. Events are the ultimate engagement channel to bring government and industry together. 68% of government personnel report that they attend more than one event each year. FBC has worked with government and industry for 45 plus years to create gatherings where ideas are shared and to help government achieve its goals. This includes agency industry days, cybersecurity symposiums, tech expos, and offsite meetings. FBC provides full life cycle meeting planning and event management. With over 5,000 meetings under their belt, FBC has the experience, systems, and personnel to make your next event exceptional. Learn more at fbcinc.com. Okay, so today's series we are kicking off. We're just going in monetary order by the top federal contractors. So today we're covering Lockheed Martin. You can see the schedule for the rest of the year on this page, as well as the next. We'll conclude then on November 15th with GlaxoSmithKline. If you want to sign up for any of these, again, they are all complimentary and everything is being recorded. You can sign up on our website under the section called subcontracting. So just as a precursor here, we just wanted to make sure that if you are going down the path of subcontracting, that you understand that the requirements, meaning the federal acquisition regulations and the DFARS, if you're doing business with any of these primes that are engaged at DoD agencies, that you are at least familiar with where to go in the FAR and the DFARs to understand the policies and procedures that the government must abide by. And these, there are going to be FAR flow down clauses. So whether you're a first tier, second tier, third tier subcontractor, wherever you are in that food chain, you need to make sure that you are compliant. And this can include things like CMMC and other requirements and compliance. So we've got two links. The first one is to the FAR subcontracting, and then the other DFARs. That's again if you're doing business with DoD or the prime that you're sub to is engaged there. So make sure you know what you know the rules of the game before you decide to go down the path, because it could be something that changes your mind, because there could be a larger investment of business cost that would preclude you. Either you don't meet the requirements, or it's going to add a cost to doing business with that prime, no matter where you are in the subcontracting food chain. We've got some other complimentary webinars on subcontracting. We did one last week to kick off this series, which was called Subcontracting with the Primes. There were 6 sessions to that. You can see them listed there. That's the link. And everybody, we are going to send out the slides today. As I said, everything's being recorded. You'll get a copy of the recording and the slides. We did 15 webinars on subcontracting opportunities within each of the federal departments. So if you just click on that link, it'll take you to the various departments. If you're focused on one in particular, it'll make it a little bit easier for you. And then over the years, we have covered various topics on subcontracting, mentor-protege, teaming, joint ventures, and all the other ways that companies can work together. So there's actually probably more than 34 webinars on that topic, but this will get you, that link will get you to the majority of those. Again, these are all complimentary. Okay, and just some best practices. If you are interested in subcontracting, you need to really have a reason as to why you are subcontracting. What is it that you do and do well? So clearly define what your value prop is. And then with that, it'll be easier then to identify opportunities, meaning solicitations, RFPs, RFQs that are probably 9 to 12 to 24 months out, where you can add value. And value can be defined as anything that's listed there on the screen in front of you. Maybe you have a technical capability that the prime does not, or maybe you've got 100 programmers that they do not, or you've got the relationship within the department or agency that they do not. As you do your research, you'll use websites like sam.gov, USA Spending, Federal Procurement Data System, or any of the paid data aggregators that are out there. And believe me, there are many. That will charge you typically a monthly fee, and you can go onto their websites, or they will actually have a platform that you can use in order to have these notifications sent to you if you find that SAM and USA Spending and FPDS are a little clunky to use. This should really be, first and foremost, is doing your research. That should really guide where you spend your time, your effort, and at the end of the day, money. So research the primes, research the opportunities where you can add value, and sign up for Google Alerts. So if there is a particular prime where you already know that there's an opportunity that's coming up that perhaps for a recompete, maybe at the end of this year, that will give you time to stay focused on building relationships within that prime, understanding everything about them that you can, keeping abreast of when they show up in the news, and not just regular publications that, you know, that people, that perhaps your neighbors are getting, like the Washington Post or Washington Times. You want to make sure that you're subscribed to GovExec, Defense One, Federal Computer Weekly, and all the other news publications that are out there. Once you have identified this opportunity and you're very specific about it, make sure that your capability statement is focused on that. And again, have a reason for contacting the company, and not what can you do for me. You should have done that in number 4, which number 4 should probably really be number 1, is that you've researched the solicitation, you know everything about it, how many vendors replied to the solicitation, what the competitive landscape looks like, any pricing homework, that information that you could have found out over the months of sleuthing. And then register on their website as a small business vendor. Most of these primes will have a section, and we'll provide that in today's presentation, where you can actually go to sign up as a vendor. Because once you contact them by phone or by email, that's the first thing they're going to ask is, have you registered on our website? So at least beat them to the punch. Make sure that you're on there. If there's a section within that portal to upload a capability statement, make sure it's customized for the opportunity that you are contacting them about. A generic capability statement is not going to set you apart from anybody else out there. Okay, so today we're focusing, as we know, on Lockheed Martin. Today's webinar, again, is being recorded. The recording, once we get it converted to the MP4 and uploaded to our YouTube channel, we'll send out an email. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, which doesn't cost you anything, and you'll get an alert as soon as that's uploaded. So some basic info on Lockheed Martin. Obviously, you should have gone onto their website and looked at their mission statement and everything under the sun. You should know everything about them if you have, in fact, identified an opportunity where Lockheed Martin is the incumbent, or you think that there is an opportunity for you to work with them on something specific. I think it's important to know if any of these companies that you're pursuing, are they public, are they private? If they are public, you probably want to keep an eye out on their stock performance. Lockheed, that stock price today was almost $470. They've had some fluctuation over the years, but you should know these things to have an intelligent conversation with the people, your point of contact within the company. The more you know, the better. If you see that their stock price is suddenly declining, and these guys, the majority of their business is defense contracting, then that should just be good information for you to help make decisions again on how to spend your time and where to spend your time. The small business registration, which again, if you spend 5 minutes on their website, you can easily find here at the lockheedmartin.com to their supplier portal. Again, when you register there, you should be doing it for a reason. Don't just go and register on all of these top 40 or top 100 federal contractors. Small business portal, use your time wisely, do that research up front, have a reason for registering with Lockheed. So when you go onto sam.gov, there's going to be Lockheed Martin, because they have multiple subsidiaries and sister companies. This is what we are focused on today. So you've got the UEI number for Lockheed. You can see that they're based in Bethesda, and they are a for-profit entity. Again, this should just be information that you know about the company. LinkedIn, this is your friend. There are all of these companies are going to have a LinkedIn business page. They're going to have point of contacts that are using LinkedIn for either posting jobs or sharing news or merger and acquisition information. All of this is relevant to you. If Lockheed makes a merger and acquisition and purchases perhaps one of your competitors, this again is going to affect your decision making. So make sure that when you go onto LinkedIn that you are in fact following their company. That'll make sure that any news or posts that they post show up in your feed. You've got a link there to their website, which again, before you contact them, make sure that you know a lot about them before you just contact them. Do your homework. They've got over 100,000 employees. And then from there, I think it makes sense to look at the small business liaison officers. And all I did here was just a simple search for, you can see in the top left-hand corner next to the LinkedIn logo, SBLO, Small Business Liaison Officer, Lockheed. And so these are the people that that have that listed as their job title at Lockheed Martin. Again, you should connect with them for a reason. Don't just connect with them and don't just click on the button connect. You want to make sure that when you go to their profile, look at where else they've worked. Look at who you know in common. Use that as information to be more strategic. So click on the button then that allows you to add a note. And that could be something like, dear Cheryl, I see that we share, 27 common connections, and I see that you used to work at ABC Company, or that you went to school at XYZ University. And, as long as that's something that you did as well, I think that could be a good opener to connect. A better opener, or the best opener, I think, is going to be, I see that you guys are going after solicitation number, XYZ123. It's coming up for a recompete in October of 2023. I was hoping to talk to somebody within your company, a program manager, and I've been having trouble getting in touch with him or her. Your SBLOs are your entry point into the large businesses. It's their job to help facilitate those introductions and make sure that the company does award subcontracts to the small women-owned, veteran-owned hub zones and more. Again, SBLO is, as you can see under Teresa Torres's name here, it stands for Small Business Liaison Officer. Okay, so let's now look at the data again, which is being provided by our friends over at GovSpend and FedMine for this series. And these are the civilian contracts. Civilian simply means anything that's not DoD. DoD is your Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine. So as we take a look here, we can see, and we went back 5 years, and I think typically we usually suggest going back only 3 years, but because of the pandemic in 2020, and it kind of bled obviously into 2021, and we're still seeing effects of it now, you may have seen spikes depending upon the company, or drops in some of their contracts depending upon what it was that they were, what it is they sell to the government, to the federal government. Did it relate to COVID? Are they the largest event planning company, and suddenly there were no events, so we see spikes. So 5 years is, the reason we went back 5 years is because of that. So we've got the list here of the various departments and agencies within some of these departments or independent agencies. As you can see, National Science Foundation shows up with a big chunk for them and kind of the number 4 position. But the vast majority of their work is with Department of Energy. And so it would behoove you then to take a look at the contracts within Department of Energy that Lockheed has, if in fact you are providing those types of services. And you can see some of the agencies here have some drops and spikes, but pretty consistently over the years, Energy, NASA, and State, and NSF have all been fairly consistent. So maybe you have a relationship within one of these departments or agencies where this contract is happening, or maybe again you have a specific technical capability. So again, use this information that's out there to help drive where you are spending your time and effort. Now we're going to look at their prime contracts on the defense side. As you can see here, Navy is getting Navy's awarding the bulk of their business to Lockheed Martin. Again, they are the #1 contractor for the federal government. And then the rest is, well, position 2 and 3 are kind of split somewhat evenly over the years, in some years between Air Force and Army. As you see, DLA, they are just a subset or a sub agency within DoD, but they have their own line item there and a significant amount of money as well. So again, it would make sense to dig a little bit deeper into those contracts to find out if you meet the requirements, and if there is some, again, value that you can provide to Lockheed on these contracts as they come up for recompete. And again, here we went back 5 years just for the same reason, and we'll do that throughout the series. Okay, we're going to look now at what does Lockheed Martin actually provide. What do they do? This information should have been pretty apparent when you did your homework on their actual website, but we broke it out by looking at, and we went back to 2016 here, so a little bit further, and the vast majority is coming in aircraft manufacturing. So, and aircraft manufacturing can include perhaps some IT pieces or some IT components. Again, you really need to drill down. This is just a high level overview, but again, the vast majority is really looking at or what their contracts they're being awarded are certainly for aircraft manufacturing, and you can see that more or less over the years. In 2021, a little bit more in R&D, engineering and life sciences. So this information again can help you have a more intelligent conversation with the point of contact. The more that you know, the more homework that you've done, the more you're going to stand out from all the other hundreds of companies that are standing there flapping a piece of paper with their capabilities statement in front of the SBLO. So again, do your homework, set yourself apart, use this information, but you're also going to have to do some of your own homework on these sites to find out how does this information then intersect with what you do. Okay, we're going to look at the contracts with a subcontract requirement on the civilian side. So those are going to be the contracts that are 750 or more. And what comes in fairly high is Homeland Security. So what we were looking at before was just overall contracts, like where is the most business, what departments and agencies are awarding contracts to Lockheed overall. These are the ones that are focused on subcontracting. So DHS, and DHS will actually be at our event on March 20th at the Kennedy Center. They're one of our very frequent government agency or departments that shows up. And then the rest is kind of split. You've got some, back in 2020, there was some work at Commerce, but it looks like that kind of dropped off. Maybe that was a multi-year contract that finished out in 2021. Again, you'll need to dig into the details. These are high-level overviews simply just to get you started. And what else can we gather from the data here is just that the 2023 numbers are still, that's kind of where we are now, so that's why you see a lot of zeros there. 2022, usually DoD waits, I think it's either 3 to 6 months to report, so we should probably, those numbers will probably be refreshed over the next 2 or 3 months with DoD information. Although I think this is just civilian. So again, just keep that in mind and let this guide your efforts. These now are your sub-K requirements for defense. Sub-K is simply subcontracts. Again, Navy, as we saw on the previous slides, you can see the dollar figures here. Army comes in, and then DoD, and we talked about DLA. So as you see numbers go up or down over the years, sometimes it's, again, because contracts are expiring. There could be a new program that was launched and then didn't take off. So again, this is why signing up for Google Alerts and staying abreast of what's happening within the various departments and agencies through all of the government publications that are out there can certainly help you. And there, we don't want to forget about the independent agencies. And this actually might be a better way if you're kind of more on the newer sides of federal contracting, because everybody and their brother is probably going after the defense and then civilian. But if you focus maybe on some of the, we'll say, not as popular agencies, you may have a little bit more luck because you're not going to have as much competition. But at the end of the day, you just need to be providing value and being, a valuable partner, subcontractor to these firms. So these are the numbers. Again, you can see some dips along the way here. And the slide is a little scrunchy, so we'll try to fix that before we send that out. Okay, and now we're going to look at the subcontracts awarded by Lockheed Martin by agency. So Navy, as we discussed, Air Force and the Army, and then we get into GSA, Homeland Security, and National Science Foundation, and those are dollars that are obligated in billions. Now we'll look at the industry, which is kind of going to take us back to those top industry codes that we looked at, but this gives us a clearer picture by the actual dollars. So they're top 10 industry codes. So if you're not providing something that falls within these industry codes, then you may not be a good partner for Lockheed. And really how you should be doing your research and homework is by first starting with your NAICS code and finding out who are the top contractors within those NAICS codes. And if Lockheed pops up, let's say within the top 5 or 10, then that's when this data here is relevant to you. Okay, and then we're going to look at who the subcontractors are to Lockheed. And subcontractors can also be large businesses, as you'll see here. And they even show up as their own subcontractor about 5th from the bottom. And this could just be their one of their subsidiaries or sister companies. And the reason, same thing that you see Northrop Grumman on there 3 times and BAE twice, again, is simply because these are going to be different corporate, same company. We all know Northrop Grumman and we all know Lockheed Martin, but again, they're going to have some subsidiaries and sister companies. So, which means that they have the different UEI number in SAM. So it can be a little confusing, but sometimes the reason they do that is just because that business unit function has a different function. So make sure you know who you're dealing with, that you've got the correct UEI number for that particular entity that you're pursuing. Okay, and the top 5 subcontracts reported. So just pulling data from the last 5 years again, subcontracts with Northrop Grumman. So there's nothing that is stopping you from being a 3rd tier subcontractor or 2nd tier subcontractor to Northrop, Georgia Tech, Boeing, or anyone else that's listed here. And there's some big numbers there. So just because Northrop Grumman received $77 million in subcontracts in fiscal year 2022, doesn't mean that they did all of the work themselves. They then perhaps subcontracted to 2 or 3 other companies below them. Same thing with Boeing or anyone else listed here. So just because you're not in the first subcontracting spot doesn't mean that you've lost anything. It's there are still opportunities. It just depends on, you know, can you still make money in that 2nd or 3rd tier spot. And just some other relevant information that can be helpful both in your research and in your strategy is looking at the top GWACs for Lockheed. So the contract vehicles that they have that help them do business across multiple departments or even sometimes within certain departments or agencies. So they're on the TSA contract, which is a unrestricted, the Alliant contract, which falls under GSA. OASIS is also GSA. ATSP 4, I believe that's a DoD contract, and then Encore 3. So there's some big numbers there, and again, there could be some possible teaming, and a lot of times you don't need to be on these same contract vehicles to be a subcontractor. Sometimes you're attractive to them because they can dictate a price to you, an hourly rate for a certain job title, where they will make money, and hopefully you're making money too. And that's why research is so important when you are pursuing the subcontracting avenue. Okay, we're going to look at the contract. 750,000 is the important number because any contracts that are awarded, excluding construction, over 750K then require that subcontracting, that sub-K report and subcontracting by the prime. So let's go ahead and look at these. And this slide has a lot of information on it, but basically what you can deduct from this information, I'm just going to start on the left here, the contract number and the total sales. That's one transaction for 489 million. under the NAICS code 336411. So you want to make sure that you're meeting the PSC code, the product service code, and the NAICS code as well. As we scroll down, and I think the important thing here is looking at the number of transactions. So that one just means that's one big contract. Two, that was split into two, and it could have been one contract for $1 and then the other for the 390 million. When you look at the 71 transactions or 28 transactions or 17 transactions, those are the contracts that you probably want to look a little bit closer at, where that money then is broken into 17 different transactions or solicitations. So there's more to compete for. It's been divvied up into task orders or something along those lines. So using that same data, what we did is just took the two charts that were on that last slide that were on the right hand side, and we looked at the industry code. So again, being consistent with what Lockheed does is the top industry codes, again, aircraft manufacturing, all the way down to just other support activities for transportation. And that's probably why they are on the that TSA contract. So you probably want to look a little bit deeper into that if in fact your company does provide any sort of transportation services. The top 10 agencies, again, this is being pulled from 2 slides back where it was just kind of hard to see. I just wanted to make sure that everybody could see the data. The Navy, again, is no surprise. We talked about DLA and the defense contracts and Homeland Security and the others. You can kind of see the dollar amounts here. And these are, again, for the contracts with the 750,000 or more requirement. And these are also the additional contracts, 750K and above. I'm sorry, that I think is a wrong slide here. So I think we are actually at the end of the presentation. A lot of information here at a high level that will require some additional clicking through links and sleuthing on sam.gov to get information that's going to be relevant for your company. So it's impossible for us to take every single NAICS code that's out there and slice it into what Lockheed is doing. So hopefully you have done that work already to understand that Lockheed is in fact your target. And this is just giving you additional information so that you can speak intelligently to them about their business in general, things that are happening that are newsworthy, and other information that would be helpful to you to be a subcontractor. Just a quick reminder that Monday the 20th, we do have our Spring Soiree. It's a networking event only. It's not a conference. There are no speakers. We do have sponsorship opportunities, and we expect over 200 government contractors to attend. Again, our sponsors for that are our friends over at BidSpeed, Northwest Federal Credit Union, Crimson Phoenix, and a host of, at this point, 8 government entities, including NAVAIR, NAVFAC, DHS, Department of Ed, HHS, MBDA, Metro, and Amtrak. We want to thank the Virginia PTAC and the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce for helping to promote today's webinar and then also helping to promote our event. Again, today's webinar is being recorded. It'll be up on our YouTube channel within 24 hours. If you just go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe to that, it won't cost you anything, and you'll get an alert as soon as it is uploaded. The slides will be on slideshare.net. And again, we thank you for participating. We hope to see you next week when we dig into the second government contractor. Thank you.